Hello everybody. Today I would like to share with you a very low maintenance indoor growing method that I have been using for years. Try other methods and come right back to it. It's a type of wicking method where you water it from the bottom and the dirt sucks it up. So what you want is a container that will hold water. You do not want holes in the bottom. You want it to hold water. It is, like I said, it's very low maintenance, very clean. You don't have to worry about the water trays, moving all this stuff, spilling water. So start with a container. The bigger the better, but fit it for your size. If you're in an apartment or you're growing on a windowsill, pick the container that you want to grow that fits your space. But I am using this because it's clear and it's probably big enough to grow some microgreens or maybe a lettuce plant or two. So you want a container that holds water, and then you want some kind of tubing to get air to the bottom. You want oxygen in the dirt, and you want carbon dioxide in the air for a plant. And you also are going to water through these tubes. And you can use any kind of tubing. If you have some scrap copper tubing, copper is a great antifungal. But anything, if you're repurposing things, find any kind of tubing that's clean and won't mold. You don't want any kind of wood. I don't know, something going in the side. So cut your tubing taller than your container, and if all possible, cut one longer than the other. How well it works as a convection, I'm not sure, but the taller one should draw air out and the shorter one will be sucking the air in. And then we're going to have some perlite. And perlite is a volcanic rock type thing that they crush up. It's very light and very porous. It holds water and air and keeps things aerated. That's why they put it in potting soil. So what we're going to use it straight. You can get this at hardware stores or medical marijuana growing stores. Is probably the best way to make this, is to go specifically to the grow store. So you're going to start with some clean perlite, and you're going to make a layer in the bottom that's anywhere from 1/4 to 1/3 of the thickness or the height of the total container that you're going to use. We're going to pack it down, and then we're going to need some kind of barrier. You can use a cotton wash rag from, say, the dollar store. You can get a whole bundle of cotton wash rags. I've used those before. You can use screen. I had some screen handy. This may be rubberized, and some people may have some problems with growing in rubber. I've heard lots of bad stuff about it. But for demonstration purposes, there we go. So now you're going to want some kind of barrier, and you're going to put that. You do not want the perlite and your soil mixture to mix, intermingle, any of that stuff. So we are going to keep this separate. And now we add soil. This is my custom soil mixture. If you're going to buy some soil, I recommend Symbiosis. You can find that at a marijuana grow store, or maybe some kind of Happy Farms to start with. That would be a very good beginner's soil to start with. It's got most of the stuff. But what I do is I mix my own from scratch. So we're gonna add this soil in here. Pack it around the tubes to hold the tubes in place. We're gonna squash this in there. Don't want to pack it too hard. Because this is mine, I haven't mixed everything in at once. So we're gonna start. Buy something that has worm castings in it and azomite. And if you can't find anything that says azomite, then buy your own azomite. That is trace minerals and vitamins and all the stuff that you do not get from store-bought produce. And this container is really only big enough to probably grow some small carrots. Or some microgreens, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some microgreens in it. And this is trace minerals. When the plant eats the trace minerals, it will store the trace minerals in itself, and then when you eat the plant, you get the trace minerals. Feed the plant things that you want in your body. Azomite is a very good soil amendment. It does not raise the pH. It does not raise or lower the pH. It doesn't mess with it at all, for people that know what I'm talking about. This is my custom soil. I will make a video of exactly how I make my custom soil for those that will be interested when I get all of my ingredients set up in a way that would be easy to see. So when you get your soil in the pot, you can see you've got the layers. And I'll show you in a minute when we put some water what it looks like. So now, this just try this package here. Different kinds of microgreens. And this one packet is probably only enough to have one, is only big enough for this one container, because that's not really a lot of seeds. Put a little bit of soil there on top to cover the seeds. Just kind of sprinkle it a little bit. Get them all covered, at least a little bit. Now, let's add some water, and I'll show you that. Start with distilled water, some kind of filtered water. I have an RO machine, or an RO water filter, reverse osmosis water filter. You do not want city water with all the chemicals. Go to the store and get you a couple gallons of distilled water. As you can see, the water level there. And we can add more. This will absorb every bit of that water I just put in it. I have put enough water in these things to float them, and when the dirt was not very wet, and it has absorbed it. So now that we've got that put together, you got your seeds and your water. You want the other side of this container so that you can make sure the dirt stays moist, and whenever the seeds pop through the top of the dirt, get a little bit established, you can take this off. And means I planted microgreens, and you get up, let them get so tall. Don't let them turn into plants, and then just cut them all off at the dirt. And you could probably do one or two more packages in the same dirt before you'd have to add a little bit more fertilizer, amend the soil. With microgreens, it might not be that important. But there is your very low maintenance grow container. Here is a container I made for my windowsill, and the last cold snap killed some of the sprouts I had coming up. But I did not put perlite in the bottom of this because it was so shallow. so I put a straw in there that has holes cut in it to aerate the soil. This is the container. I have small carrots, short carrots. It is done the same way. Put a wire on top to keep and use some saran wrap for the dome. Lots of little carrots coming up in there. Then I want to try some potatoes. But if you want to use a big container, a big tote, that would be great. Put big tubes, one tube in each corner, and do the same thing. And this, you could water this with 3 to 4 gallons and not touch it again for 2 months probably. When I do big containers this way, I get at least 6 to 10 weeks before I have to water after I initially put it together. But very easy. And if you're going to grow indoors, not in the window, and you need a light, this little HLG was $100, and it will grow probably a 4 by 4 foot space, maybe bigger if you're using leafy greens such as spinach, lettuce, microgreens, any kind of leaf only plant, or carrots, but if you need big plants with high powered light, then you'll need to step it up. But an HLG, this is very, very well worth the money. It's an HLG 65. Get you an HLG 100 for 120, something like that. But I hope you enjoyed it. Here's some ingredients I'll make my dirt with, and I will make you a video on how exactly I do that. Thank you, and hope you enjoy.